Hi, I am John Watson reporting on the ninth and final round of the Gashimov Memorial tournament, the chess tournament, obviously, in Shamkir. We had an exciting last round, and as it turned out, a playoff. But first, let me tell you how the players were doing going into the round. We had in first place Fabiano Caruana with 5.5 points, tied with Giri at 5.5. And Giri typically had not lost a game. He has gone through many tournaments without losing games, but he won 3 games, which is good because he tends to draw a few too many games. So he was tied for first with Caruana, and Caruana had been beaten by Mamedyarov in the round before his first loss, and that allowed Giri to catch up with Caruana. And Mamedyarov himself got to only half a point behind at 5 points, so he was trailing the leaders by 5 points. Unfortunately, the pairings in the last round really helped because, first Sergei. Well, let me say who else had what other people had what points. Sergei Karjakin had 4.5 points. Pentala Harikrishna was at 4. Timur Rajabov was at 3.5. Rauf Mammadov was at 3.5. Pavel Ulyanov and Elcha Safarli at 3, and Hu Yifan, who's the women's world champion, was at last in 2.5 points, having played well but thrown away a few games. Okay, so what happened? The top 2 boards were the games to decide the tournament, so I'm just going to show them. First was Karjakin Caruana, which is in front of you, and was not a terribly exciting game. It ended pretty quickly, but it was mainly interesting for the opening. And since a lot of you might want to play this opening or want to know about it, it's kind of a hot opening right now. It's worth going over. So it's an E4, E5 game. Not surprising with Karjakin. Ruy Lopez. Now, one thing that happened in this tournament is there were 4 games, and none of them were Berlin defenses. So that's kind of, and none of them were this thing, which is boring everybody to death and making the E4, E5 look awful. So they all went like that. And now all the games were with this move, the open Ruy Lopez, which has been out of fashion for a long time, but just this last year and a half or so has come back into fashion big time. And was played 4 times in this tournament, and no other Ruy Lopez was played. For example, the traditional orthodox Bishop E7 move wasn't played either. Only the open Ruy Lopez, which is kind of fun because it's sort of different, and we're seeing some new things going on. Okay, so these are all normal moves now, and you could argue that's the problem with this game, is it's all normal moves. I could never really understand why the open Ruy wasn't more popular, because theory's always been sort of okay for black, but I think one thing that's influenced people is that the great classic victories in this variation are all for white. So all the famous games are wins for white, and also black does have a hard time, if white knows what he's doing, getting any winning chances. So I think that's what's been going on. Anyway, there was recently a book by Mihalchison, a DVD repertoire by Mihalchison, not too long ago, and people have been playing it quite a bit since then. Okay, 92 is one of many moves. I used to play this, and in fact, this happened in a game. Caruana played this, actually. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right, against Giri. And Giri kind of showed why this line wasn't played anymore. I used to play this with the idea of some cheapos with C4 and then sometimes Bishop A4 and all kinds of tricky stuff. But he played very well against this, and I'll just show you just a couple moves. After C4, he took, and now white used to be thought to be better here, but this move seems to be equalizing. And then this very nice move here with Queen B8, hitting this and getting out of the pin. And I won't go any further than that, but it was all preparation for about 22 moves or something. And the odd thing is it was completely equal after 22 moves, but Giri went horribly wrong, and Caruana actually took the draw in a winning position where he had a forced win. Not easy to find at all, but still kind of a funny thing to happen among top players. And just briefly, what else can happen here? White can play Bishop E3, Knight BD2, and C3. And all of these things were played in this. A lot of these things were played in recent tournaments. Okay, so that's what happened in this game. And black played here. Now, in an earlier game, Karjakin